I don't want to just go to the office, 9 to 5, go home, do that for 40, 50 years, and then all of a sudden I look back and I'm like, I went on vacation every year. That was great. All that, I have a nice house. All that seems nice, and I want it because I want to protect and provide for my family.
Of course.
But I want to have an impact. I want to do more than just work and get paid.
All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Risky Assets Podcast. Today is a bunch of white-collar dudes. We're going to talk numbers and service, but one of the things that every entrepreneur, now that I'm in the space and I've been in it, like taxes are always the thing that comes up first. Their books, how either good or bad they are. Mm-hmm. There's no in between. So I want you to introduce yourself because there's like 20 different ways to say your first name, based on everything I've seen.
I respond to all of them.
Yeah.
Yes. If you give me, I always say, if you give me the turnaround, it works.
It works. Yeah.
Yeah. So the true way, Joel. So Joel,
yeah.
Joel. It's Joel. The easiest way I say is Joel with an H.
Yep.
So then you kind of get close enough so I can respond.
I love it. Last name?
Peluffo.
Yep. And you are Argentinian. Me and you know this. Yeah.
Yep.
So you're going to hear the accent. You're going to hear the accent. I love it.
Yeah. That will never go away. I've tried and it won't go away.
That's great. So one of the stories that I think is funny of how we met is I actually knew your wife before. Mm-hmm. I went to high school with her. And then one day I pop out at church and I'm like, hey, I know these people, and then we kind of got to connect a little bit that way. But so Joel, you have been at Hedman Partners, which is I would say the biggest CPA firm up here in Santa Clarita. Mm-hmm. It's a great company. How long have you been there?
I've been there 13 years.
Okay, so that was the first job out of college?
Official job, yes. So
big boy job.
The only one that I require an interview. Okay. So I've only had one interview my entire life.
Too funny. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's run back kind of just who you are first before we go into the work, which, CPAs, I know they can be a dime a dozen, but also how you guys, I think, are very hyper-focused on who your client is and saying no, and how you vet your clients is very interesting. Sure. So we'll get to that, and I think you guys should take some notes too. But so born in Argentina.
Born and raised in Argentina.
Tell us about that. Like, obviously family from there or something.
Yeah. So my whole family, going back to my grandparents, Argentina, Uruguay, all the whole area. Born and raised there. When I was 16, my dad decided to come to the U.S. to study. He actually came to the Master's Seminary.
Oh, okay. So is he a pastor?
Yes. So he was a pastor, actually. He was a pastor for over 20 years. Realized he needed more help to be better and wanted eventually to go back and train other people there to become better pastors and leaders. So when I was 16, he pretty much grabbed the whole family. He's like, all right, we're going to the U.S., which was pretty exciting at the time.
I bet.
Didn't really think of what that meant really till I came here and I realized how far away I was from everything I knew.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. Yeah. So came here in high school, did 2 years at Hart High.
Okay.
Yeah. We came straight to Santa Clarita. And then from there, so Masters kind of came through soccer, actually.
Okay.
It was interesting. Even though my dad was in Master's Seminary, I didn't know about the college.
So funny.
All I cared back then, even through graduation, was just soccer. That's the only thing that mattered to me. Still matters a little too much, I think.
Yeah. We can talk about what you just did on your anniversary later.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was hoping that wouldn't come up, but yes. So all I care about soccer. Randomly met a coach for club that was Argentinian that happened to be the assistant coach at Masters. So as soon as I came here, I started playing for him, and soon after I was practicing with the squad at Masters. And then from there kind of led to coach telling me he wanted me to play, and I didn't really apply for any other colleges.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's interesting. My whole kind of story always goes back to kind of the Lord had one way, and that was the way I went. Masters just came, Hedman came, and maybe we can talk about that later.
That's so funny. I mean, even now I'm connecting dots because I didn't know about that. Did you get a full ride to play? Or was it? So, okay. So you come out here knowing nobody. And, your dad obviously made a big leap with the family. Siblings, I'm assuming?
Yes. So sister, 3 years younger, little brother, 10 years younger.
Okay. So rips everybody up, comes out here, does seminary. Did he go back to Argentina?
Yes. So it's funny. I think a month after I started at Hedman, he went back with my little brother. My sister by then stayed here. She was at Masters too. So went back, and now since that point on, the last 13 years, he has a training center. He does a lot
Is
of
that through TMAI or is that through one of the Grace
through
Advance?
TMAI. Yep.
Okay.
TMAI. So he serves all over South America through online, does conferences.
I
And
love it.
Yeah.
I love it. My dad does a lot of the TMAI stuff. Was just out in Ecuador maybe, but they were building churches, and so I just was wondering. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So one of the things that I think is really cool about people's journey is that obviously you don't know. I mean, we've been like good acquaintances, not friends, for a while now. I had no idea that you actually got a ride, and that's how it kind of worked at Masters. So you spent your 4 years there.
Yep.
And what did you study? Was it
So I started with management.
okay?
Again,
The broadest thing,
always,
Yeah.
wanting to go through 4 years, get a degree, and then go play soccer somewhere,
Sure.
hopefully in Europe, and go from there.
Sure.
That was always the plan. So I started doing management. My advisor was an accounting professor. So
Okay.
after I took accounting 1, he said, seems like it works for you and it's going to open a lot of doors. And I honestly just listened to him and I was like, sure. So I did accounting, not really knowing about public, private, tax, audit.
It's just numbers.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was just like,
Yeah.
I understand it. The language makes sense to me.
Sure.
And I did well. So why not?
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And so you switched sophomore year or something?
Yeah, I
somewhere
think
in the middle.
it was,
junior?
maybe beginning of sophomore year.
That's how it works
as soon
for
as
so
I
many
took
people.
accounting 1.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so then you play your 4 years out. At what point did you go, okay, like I'm not going to do the soccer dream. I'm going to do, I'm going to go work and I'm
Sure.
going to make that happen, whether it's here or somewhere else. Like, what did that look like?
Yeah, so my junior year, I got hurt, and I met my now wife pretty much around the same time. So it was starting to think, well, soccer might not work out. Plus, now I want to get married. I'm gonna have to provide to be able to do that.
Yep.
So even then, got through my junior year and then senior year, I started to think, well, now definitely soccer won't work out. Can't really get better from my injury, and I'm gonna need a job. My wife is a year and a half younger, so she still had to stay at Masters. So we couldn't even move to go try something anywhere. So through a family friend of my wife's, their son worked at Hedman.
Okay.
So all I knew was like my mother-in-law got me to have coffee with a guy that did accounting. That's all I knew. Met with him. You might know him, Jason Stauffer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so Jason Stauffer was a Hedman.
Well, Amy Stauffer, I went to school with.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so
okay.
I've known the Stauffer family
That's right.
forever.
The dad was Rebecca's softball coach.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep.
At Village. Small world. So then it led to meeting with him and talking. I enjoyed what he told me he did as a living, so I gave him my resume. And then I think a few weeks later, this was into my senior year, I had an interview with some of the people that are still there at Hedman. And then I got hired to start the following January. So about 6 months after graduation.
Okay, wow.
So
what did you do in the 6 month dead
so
period?
Got married 2 months after graduating.
Okay, good.
And then I worked part-time. So because of the visa and some of those requirements, I could only work under the Masters or Grace umbrella.
Yeah, with 25 hours or 30 hours,
Exactly.
whatever it was.
So I was working maintenance at the church, and I was assistant coach for the soccer team.
Very cool.
So a lot of fun.
Very cool.
A lot of fun.
So you were 22 basically, right, when you got married? Young.
Yep. Definitely young.
It's funny because even as you were saying it, now you are a partner at Hedman now, which is pretty cool because you're 35.
36.
And you're a partner somewhere, not just at like a rinky-dink CPA firm, like it is a legitimate firm. So I think that really speaks to like, I got married super young. A lot of the guys that I know get married super young also have to have that very different mindset of like, I can't go screw around, just go vacationing, blow money at the club and whatever. So I also remember thinking, how do I marry this really pretty girl I want to be with? How do I provide? And I was making big boy decisions at 21, 22 years old. So it's funny now because I see someone who did very similar things. And actually, we're in very similar positions now where it's like, hey, we have influential positions in our community at good companies. And it's like, hey, we have a lot to show for it in a worldly way. So it's like, it's pretty cool to look back on it and go, there's actually data that supports all that stuff, which I'm sure you know about too. But it's funny to see it play out for other people. Okay, so then what year was that when you ended up getting married?
So 2012, graduated, got married, and then started Hedman January 13.
Fun. Very rare do you have someone 13 years at the same company. So let's play out like, one, what made you even 13 years ago, like take the job? What was interesting? Did you see where you are now back then?
Yes. So I'll answer that in a few different
Sure.
ways. So first, really early. So always playing sports my whole life. I wanted to do something where I was not going to be still.
Sure.
Parenthesis.
Which is funny 'cause,
I
yeah,
sit
you sit at a
down
desk, yeah.
for a living. I sit down on a computer for a living.
Yep.
But the way I don't sit down in a sense now is my mind does not sit down.
Sure.
In that every day is different. I deal with different industries, different clients, different issues, different personnel. So that kind of keeps my
the
movement
stimulation
going.
good. Yeah.
My brain's moving even though my legs don't move anymore.
So funny. Yeah.
So that's kind of, I saw that really early on that was the profession, and especially at a place like Hedman.
Yeah.
That kind of had the open door policy and open environment of you got to do the work that we assign you, but you can also play around and investigate new ways or better systems, or if you want to do different things and kind of go more into different areas or get different expertise, they allow for that.
That's cool.
So I saw that really early on, and because of the open door policy and how open the partners were, I saw really early on what they did for a living and how they serve their clients and their work-life balance and all the values they had. So I don't know if it was exactly year 1 or year 2, but I started really early on asking them, what do I need to do to be in your meeting? Spot. I want to be next to you guys, and I don't want to leave Hedman. I could see myself doing what they were doing. It's rare. I know it's unique, and kind of, again, going back to how the Lord had specific paths for me, that was one where it was pretty clearly early on that Hedman was the place to be.
So one of the things that I have talked about is painting a clear picture for people who come into the organization. Like, where is your place, not just tomorrow, but in the future of like, hey, 5, 10, 20 years down the line. Yeah. And so the reason I asked that question specifically is because I feel like I try and do my best to go, here is the road. It will look a little windy, more windy than I'm saying, but like there is a place where you get to where you want to be. You can be a partner, you can buy in, you can make significant money. You're going to go coach your kids, you can go on vacations, all that stuff. So I was just curious, like, did you feel that? And it sounds like you did. Like, you saw it from them and that it was available to anybody who would put the work in. So that's a testament to them and their ability to cast the vision. How many partners at the time were there?
At the time, maybe 5.
Okay. So obviously Calvin was the founding member.
Calvin, founding manager member. There was a tax director, an audit director.
Okay.
There was another tax partner at the time. A few years after I started, another guy became also a tax partner.
I love it. How many partners now?
So right now it's 7 of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So there's 3 tax, 2 audit, 1 M&A, and then Calvin, managing partner.
I love it. And so what's funny too is I was doing a networking meeting in Westlake, and I met Matt Sprague, and I was like, dude, is Hedman out here too? Like, Matt's obviously you're casting a bigger net now. You guys are a substantial organization. How many people are at the firm now?
So right now it's about 40. Yeah.
It's great.
Yes.
It's incredible. And a lot of people, not just here in Santa Clarita, I mean, people are commuting to be here. Like, it is well known that it's a great place to work. What's the next, phase for Hedman look like? 40 to 60? Are you guys trying to maintain? Like, what's the vision for the next couple of years?
We're ambitious. We definitely want to grow. We're trying to grow. Starts with bringing more talent, more clients, more revenue for the existing clients, more services. Definitely the talent.
More talent.
The recruiting is always hard. But we're not desperate to grow without, we want to keep growing, and we want to grow fast without jeopardizing our values and the current culture that we have.
Totally. Now, I think one of the things that's really cool, so even, I'll just give some context here. So Greyhawk came up to Hedman a couple of years ago. I did the meeting with Calvin, and I was like, hey, we'd like to work with you. And politely, he said no. And I was like, oh, okay. He's like, he just basically told me, hey, you guys are too small right now. And like our value proposition doesn't fit with where you are right now in your business cycle. And I remember sitting there, like, I wasn't mad, but I was like, frick, that pissed me off. Like, in the sense of I wasn't big enough. And it almost made me go, for the next couple of years, I want to get big enough so I can just like make this happen. Not only that, you guys are right down the street, so it makes it really easy. We have connections. I met Matt. Like, I just felt like we were making connections in the community. And I see Calvin at the golf course all the time. So I was like, this would be a really easy connection point. And at some point last year, I came to you, I was like, hey, $5 million in revenue. I mean, maybe we'd still be a little small, but like, we're willing to pay a premium. You don't hear clients most of the time going, I want to pay a premium, just let me in the gates. So explain your process of kind of what bit us at first, and like just how you vet people. Because I think it's really a good way to go about letting people in the door.
So I think our structure is based more on value than revenue. In this of course, revenue drives everything.
Of course.
But we care a lot about the value that we can provide and that we get back, in the sense of, because of the expertise we have and the structure we have, we're set in a way that we have to charge higher premiums for what we offer. So for that to make sense, the client has to be at a reasonable size where they have the issues that we can serve better and that we enjoy serving.
Sure.
The compliant aspect, for example, just tax returns, financial statements, we're really good at those. We do them. But where we can do the extra, it's the planning and everything that comes around after that. Smaller companies or smaller size might not need the same level. So we could do them. But the problem is,
but you guys have made a culture decision of who internally and externally is going to be around. And I think that's the really unique part. So like, you guys made a decision that there's going to be a minimum threshold.
Exactly.
There's going to be a way you guys go about vetting people. So what's the minimum revenue threshold, roughly? I know it's malleable.
So let's just say our target is 5 and 10 all the way to 250 million.
Right.
So middle market businesses,
right.
A lot of manufacturing, real estate, distribution. So what happens with that is, if we take anybody smaller, it almost becomes just a money grab. And at some point that comes up. The client, years from now, might start realizing I'm paying too much. So the relationship sours a little bit.
Yeah, it gets frictional. I get it.
So then it's not, or they struggle to pay our fees. Not that they can, but they might not be happy about it. So it's just, the relationship doesn't work as nicely as if the client's happy, we're happy, and everything flows from there. So that's what we're trying to find.
The value prop is so important.
Yeah.
I mean, even at Greyhawk here, like, we have a minimum commission threshold because we feel like we're experts and we provide so much value. If you're not driving $2,500 of revenue, then you're like, hey, we can't even look at this.
Yeah.
And as a producer, you can bring it in, but you won't get paid. Like, that's going to go to a different department that isn't as specialized as what we're doing. And so there is a culture that you set for what you let in the door.
Exactly.
And so I always thought, as much as it annoyed me that Calvin said no, I was like, I do this in my own business. Like, we have a threshold. So I understood it. And it more so annoyed me that, like, I didn't meet it at the time.
Yes.
And I was like, I want to get bigger. Yeah. So, I mean, value propositions, I think for anybody, how do I say it sets culture not only for like who you are, but like what the company is going to be long term. There's a volume play to be said. Like, some people are just like, hey, any business is good business and I'll deal with it. And I want volume. And there's something to be said about that. We, on our side of the business, go, hey, I just don't want to live that life. The less people, the better. I want to serve those people that I do have much more effectively. And it's fun working on complex cases and not just like kind of the turn and burn, which is probably what you guys experience very similarly on the smaller accounts.
Yes.
Am I wrong?
No, that's accurate. And part of it too is like, if we're preaching to our team a work-life balance, those that become easier when you have, in a sense, smaller clients with larger accounts that you serve, that you enjoy. So it makes it, even while being in the office, it almost gives you the ability to have an impact on the client by doing more than just the compliance, which is harder for a smaller account.
Totally true. Burnout's real too. I think the volume play creates a little bit of that burnout.
Yes.
Do I like this? Am I going to be here long term? Can I find something like, you start getting some of those consequential negative issues for your employment staff, which can then impact your clients.
Exactly.
So anyway, I thought it was really a good thing. There's one more thing that I think you guys do that's unique. So you don't just, one person doesn't just decide.
No.
So how does that look like if, like when I came, Greyhawk, hey, what does it look like to clear that and work with us?
Yeah. So the standard is, so 2 partners have to approve any prospect.
Outside of the person that brought them.
No. So typically, yes,
got it.
if the person that brought it is not a partner, then 2 partners need to get involved.
Understood.
So the way that works is, if, let's just say we meet, we're talking, you send me typically the easiest is your tax returns or financials.
Of course.
From there, I prepare some type of budget, a lot of notes on the client. If they're on the smaller side, maybe I'm trying to sell to the partners the growth potential, the needs, why this makes sense.
Sure.
Because first of all, it has to make sense for me, of course.
Yeah.
And then from there, I send that to the other partner. Sometimes if it's tax, with the tax director or Calvin or somebody on the other side. And they, based on the notes, it goes from there. Sometimes it's an easy approval. Sometimes it requires kind of a little bit back and forth. Sometimes we have to meet again with the client and kind of have them sell it to us. So it kind of goes back and depends on the situation. But because again, we don't want, ideally, we don't want any clients that, at least that the whole team's not happy with.
I get that.
Anybody working with them.
If you had a percentage, how many yes, how many no's of people that are kind of coming through the door and wanting to work with you?
I don't know. So if we do the budget, if we go through at least the initial process, those most likely I would say yes, or for the most part, yes. we do have a lot of calls or people, hey, my friend needs or this, and we have in a sense, a polite way of like, we know a lot of other people that will serve you way better, or that will serve you the same with a more affordable fit that you will be happy with. Our referral will be happy, and everyone wins.
Yeah, exactly. It's so funny because you guys did the same thing to us, and I was like, ugh. Well, when I get to the big boy table, I'll just circle back, which I'm sure you guys
that's
get
the
that.
Conversation. It's like, yes, so this person will be really good for you. Now, when you grow, then and you might have more needs, we'll be here.
Do you guys have a minimum fee where you look at it as like, hey, it can't be less than this, or is it still a little malleable in that sense?
It depends. So, for example, if it's related to a good client of ours, then we'll be more flexible and we'll lower the fees. It all really depends on the circumstance.
Sure.
Again, more than the fee is, does it make sense value-wise?
Of course. Yeah, I get that. Well, sometimes that means like, hey, we have a $15,000 minimum or a $10,000 or whatever it ends up being. We have financial service companies that large as well, but they'll go, hey, we don't work on anything that doesn't generate $10,000 in revenue. It's just, it's easy. Everyone knows it. And it's like, I don't get paid and we make sense of it. Right. Yeah. So I know that's commonplace. And then one of the unique things I think about what you guys do nearby is obviously you're very big in the community. There's lots of people up here and they're out preaching the good word of Hedman. But you guys seem to have a way to not only be professionals, but like, I mean, you guys are very plugged in up here in the community and doing the marketing and that served you well. I'm assuming you guys do a lot of business up here in Santa Clarita, but it's got to be bigger than just the Santa Clarita area.
It is.
Significantly bigger.
We always say Southern California. Yeah. It's gone beyond there.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is we want to be plugged in, involved in the community. Again, going back to the work-life balance, we encourage our team members to be part of the kids' sports.
We see it.
Through the whole circle, you end up meeting people in the community that can use our service. So then it all kind of steams from there.
It feeds itself.
Different churches or different events, the different groups for businesses. So yeah, it's
so funny. When I hire people, producers specifically, I'll go, if you're not golfing with a stranger on Friday, I'm going to get pissed. Because I know that I also want them to be in that area or around, golfers who typically are doing well. But then I'm like, hey, if you don't go to your kid's recital, if you don't go to their practice, I'm going to be pissed too, because you're not putting that on me. That I couldn't go to something because my boss or whatever. But I also know that that's where you meet all the other people who are in your community that you can impact, that you can work with. So we do a lot of similar things. Before I knew what Hedman was, we had kind of set it up similarly, which is really, it's a good thing.
And I think it's also on top of like for business growth is for the internal development of the staff. The industry we're on, there's a lot of turnover, a lot of burnout. A lot of the tradition is you get your accounting degree, you get your license, you do the grind at the Big Four, and then you go work for a client or you go private. That would not work for us because we like the long term. We like the relationship between employees and clients and just growing from within. So for that is we need to try to avoid the burnout.
Yeah.
And from my perspective, a lot of that is the family has to be happy. If my wife wasn't happy with my balance, that could end up leading to me having to look somewhere else or try to figure something better.
That's what everybody does.
We're all together.
Yeah, it's like, hey, if I want to stay married to this person and she's unhappy or he's unhappy, it's like, well, you got to do something.
Yes.
So I totally understand that. Is there other things that you guys feel like you do that, one, we can talk about people your size, but you obviously compete against the Big Four in a lot of ways for talent. Yep. How do you feel like you differentiate outside of work-life balance? Like, are there different things you're doing that is more attractive to what they're doing?
Yeah, so definitely one of the big ones is the hours. If you compare for a tax professional or a public accounting professional, the hours are significantly less with us. There's a grind. There's still the grind of busy season. Yeah. There's a lot of hours. I work a lot. But on top of that, just to close on the hours, because we're in town, most people are in town, we have flexibility. We treat everybody as professionals. If you do get your work done, for example, I can go to any practice, any school event. I don't really miss anything. That might mean I have to work at night.
That's what I do.
But it balances off really well. Everybody in the house is family. I might lose a little sleep. That's on me. But we go golfing a lot. We do a lot of things like that. But another thing that makes a big difference in the profession is because we're smaller, we compete with the Big Four, but we're a small company. So instead of assigning people to specific aspects of a project, a lot of times every time we assign a client, so the development's faster.
Right.
So you're learning and you're contacting clients and you're doing, for example, Greyhawk. If I give Greyhawk to a prepare, they're going to do the whole process. they're gonna need help.
Mm-hmm.
They might not contact you right away until maybe they're in year 2, 3, or whatever. But they get to see your entire
themselves,
the entire industry, the business, your issues, your everything. So then development is faster, and because we're smaller, for those that want it, the roadmap's there to grow. Which is kind of going back to my situation. For some reason, I wanted it really early on, and I bugged the partners, and they were happy to show me and bring me along. I was part of meetings, going to clients, doing everything really early on because they saw that I wanted it. And the opportunity is there. And we do the same now for everybody that we have interns that have gone to clients. We get people involved in different areas to expose them to what the profession's like, what it means to be a manager and a partner, what it means to be a trusted advisor, not just a tax preparer.
So cool.
So those things are what I think make a big difference for us.
I love the ownership model. Obviously, we provide it here. We do the same thing. It's like, hey, if you want to do this, it requires a certain amount of effort. Mm-hmm. It requires a certain amount of integrity, reliability, like all the things that you would want from your boss, you have to be.
Exactly.
And that can pose a challenge, but it's also like, hey, I have to treat this organization different because I want to be an owner, looks different. And then if I am one, looks different. Mm-hmm. So I do think it provides the right style of positive incentive.
Exactly.
Instead of like, hey, give me my bonus, give me my, and then I'll bounce and I'll try and get a better job over time. Mm-hmm. Like you're not actually trying to push the value prop of the business more effectively. So I love that model. So many similarities in how we've set each other up as far as the business is. What are so you mentioned like there's obviously industries all over the place that you guys work with. I'm sure entertainment in Los Angeles is a part of it that's gotten a little fragmented, but construction, manufacturing, are there things that you guys see as like a common issue across the board for people doing their taxes or running into certain issues that you guys do a good job of solving?
Yes and no. And there's a lot of issues that we see. One of sometimes goes back to kind of starting with a good set of books and kind of investing in a good team in their either inside or outside, from like having the good accounting department inside or bringing good accounting help from bookkeepers. So that makes our life easier. And a lot of times it makes the decision of the owners easier because they have good data, reliable data, readily available that they can look at whenever they want to make decisions. So that affects more than just the compliance for tax or financial. It's just like to be able to grow and make decisions, having good numbers.
Absolutely.
We actually started a few years ago a CAS practice, which is Client Accounting and Advisory Services.
Okay.
Kind of from that, a lot of the industry is going that way too, but recognizing there's a need out there for companies to have good, reliable data, and that could go from good bookkeeping or you implement a new system and you get it working enough that works for you, but then you're not using all the features or you're not getting the best out of it. So having that or seeing internal controls and recognizing different type of accounting, everything ends up going somewhere to accounting.
Of course.
And just being able to come in and say, okay, we're going to be even like fractional CFO work and seeing what it's out there and what you have and where it could end up being. We hear a lot of owners that have a really successful practice, but they don't have the data or they don't have what they need to make decisions a little more accurately. And that sometimes can cause a lot of headaches.
Well, you can make, not only is accurate decisions, like you will make bad ones with not good. We've been really good here at Greyhawk. We've got a bookkeeper that was from the start integrated into our agency management system. It's been easy to kind of see the data. And now AI, we feed all that data to AI to kind of help us benchmark things, to kind of look at, like we're kind of doing the fractional CFO work kind of through that. And every month, because I have good data, I get to see where we're trending. But that's what a CFO would do is go, hey, man, you got to cut expenses here. Or you need to grow more effectively, change your leverage positions, whatever it may be. But I am so surprised at how bad people's books are for legitimate companies. And when it's like, hey, I need you to provide financials. And it's like, oh, I'm 2 quarters behind. It's crazy. That
because they don't know the alternative. Well, they don't know what they don't know. And a lot of times these companies are really successful because they were good at making something or selling something. They grew to a level where it's kind of gone beyond them.
Yeah.
And having a good team to support that hasn't caught up to the level they're at. So that's where sometimes like, hey, I know you need to incur significant costs sometimes, but the benefit is definitely there.
Well, even if you're trying to sell the organization, if you've done well, like if you have funky books, the first thing a buyer is going to do is go, either you're getting a severe discount or I'm out. So it still benefits you to do all that stuff and make sure your books are tight. I guess with that, do you guys do M&A?
Yeah, so I was going to say
Okay.
that's another.
I mean, you have all the keys.
Another plug right there. Yeah, so Calvin and Matt that you met.
Oh yeah.
They lead our M&A practice. They go from like taking a client to the market to preparing the books or doing the quality of earnings, everything in all across the process. It's almost like buying or selling a house times 10.
Yeah.
That whole process we can do and we do well. We have a good network of people trying to buy or sell businesses. So it's always a good, it's been really good for us.
Well, I mean,
and
you guys are going to
growing
understand it. So, I mean, it makes sense that you would have all the data that's crucial to them and go, I can make it better by doing and implementing all these things, right? So that makes perfect sense to me. How much of the business, if it was like a percentage, like, I mean, you guys are probably doing a fair amount of M&A. I know they're long lead cycles, but they're
so
solid
that's
pays.
cyclical. So it kind of depends on the year. So typically, like between tax and audit, it's about 50-50. That's our bread and butter. And then the M&A kind of comes and goes in the sense that there's a lot of deals going on. Those sometimes go up and down.
Yeah.
So sometimes we close a handful a year. Sometimes we close a lot more.
Yeah.
It really depends also on the size.
The size is a big deal.
So we don't, it's funny, we kind of like, we account for tax and audit. That's what we deal with. And then the rest is
like gravy.
It's welcome. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But
so all the budgeting is done with that one half of the business.
Exactly.
This is how we're going to run it out.
Exactly.
That's great. You guys are, you're in growth mode. Are you trying to hire a certain amount of people? Talent for me is always the tough part, not in the sense of, I actually don't have the cynical belief that there's not good talent out there. I believe that there is. I believe your value proposition has to be good enough to attract them. You have to create a system that attracts the people as well. But are you guys trying to grow by a certain head count a year at this point?
Yes, but we're not desperate.
I get that.
So we have so for example, masters, we have a really good pipeline through the internship program. We go to the career fair. We haven't come to the office twice a year. We do a lot with the students, and it's been really good for us.
You hired one of Andrew's buddies.
Exactly, his roommate.
Yes.
That's
right. Yeah.
Yeah. So every year, so this past year we just hired 2 of the interns that we had.
Awesome.
Sometimes we had 1. We have. I don't know if we've gone to 3. Actually, yeah, 1 year we had 3 that we hired.
That's
so
great.
It's been really good for us to, at the beginning level. It's always harder to find managers and senior managers.
Of course, yeah. There's definitely plucking people out is much more complicated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We like to develop from within, but we also have good connections, especially like you were saying earlier, in Santa Clarita, we're the biggest accounting firm.
Yeah, by far.
So we're always trying to recruit. Hey, if you're a CPA in Santa Clarita, at least come talk to us.
Of course.
So that's kind of how we're always trying to, and we're growing. And if we see somebody that makes sense, typically we don't pass on that. And then we try, and we are making the revenue kind of follow them.
That's great.
Really
Have you guys acquired any other firms, or have you guys not gone through that yourself yet?
We talk about it. It's always an option out there. It's actually, on the contrary, what's been really good for us is a lot of firms our size have been acquired by big firms or by PE firms.
Yeah.
So it leads to a lot of clients that we like serving that are used to dealing with people one-on-one.
And they don't like the new management system.
All of a sudden, they get answers. There's a lot of offshoring of work and all this thing. So they're
unhappy.
They're not, they don't get the face-to-face service that they used to. So we've gotten some clients that way.
We're in the same boat.
Exactly.
So, I mean, literally the private equity model and the venture capital backed broker has become such a big part of what's happened. It's really, obviously the boomers are enjoying the big multiples that they're getting paid. But the problem is the clients are used to a certain way of dealing with those people that they had, and they're gone. And then they put a VA for certs. They change the way that they're servicing those people. It's maybe not as hands-on. The big shops have some advantages, obviously the big networks, but they have a massive disadvantage on understanding their client in that local base. So they make weird decisions that those clients are like, what are you doing? So we've seen a lot of really advantageous things happen because we've gotten more clients. Just from being and existing, we've gotten more clients. So if you had to put a number, 2 to 4 people you're trying to bring on a year roughly. So, I mean, that's 10% in headcount roughly if you get 4. I mean, you'll get big fast that way. At a certain point, the more work too, it's like you guys could be at 100 people before you know it.
That sounds, so it's interesting. Again, going back to not being desperate, that sounds really cool. Being a big firm, that also sounds like a headache at times.
The nice part about a lot of partners is that there's a lot of people to row.
Exactly.
So it's not all one person,
for sure. 100%. But it's one of those, I think we put a lot of value in the culture that we have.
Smart.
So having things that could jeopardize that, we are a little hesitant. But
which is smart.
But growth is definitely welcome. We pursue it. We're going after it.
I love it.
On the talent side and the client side for sure.
We should do a bet who fills their building first.
Okay. I've seen you work with you're aggressive.
Yeah, I'm
in a
definitely
good
on the
way.
aggressive side. For some context, they're literally just right over here in the same building effectively, like they're the same layout. And so you and the partners own, well, I'd say some of the partners have ownership in that building, and then we're trying to take over this building as well and buy it. So I'm trying to fill this entire building with Greyhawk people.
You're
that's
already
the goal.
filling somewhere with the studio.
Yeah,
so
you go. Yeah, I got a lot of.
You have a
space
leg
in
up
here.
on us.
I do. So as far as it's specialties and industries, I know you guys have a lot of things. Do you see something more commonly? Construction, manufacturing, like what's the more common or what happens?
Yeah, there's a lot of, because of the area we're in. There's a lot of aerospace.
True.
Yeah.
People don't think about that. There is
a lot of manufacturing, definitely real estate, construction, distribution, some medical practices.
There's some massive industrial stuff over here, so that makes sense.
It's interesting driving around Santa Clarita. It's just, even though it seems like a small valley, you see a lot of big companies.
Massive.
A lot. So yeah, and we're not focused on specific industries necessarily, but because we have so many clients on specific industries,
it just keeps
become kind of like experts on those areas, and sometimes it becomes a little easier.
That's fun. What's the so again, CPA? Hey, how do I save taxes? That's always the fun one. I have this little cynical belief kind of against the 6,000 pound vehicle thing, where I see so many people, that's like their first thing they go and like, I'm just gonna go buy a truck. And I'm like, well, you already have a truck and you're gonna have to do recapture on it. Like, you're not getting that much of a benefit, and you still spend $100,000 to save maybe 30 or 40, and you have insurance. And I actually don't think it's that great of a write-off personally. Now, if you're going to buy a truck and you need it, like, great, then, or a car, go do it, because you do get a tax advantage. What's the thing that you guys are usually harping on that's like, hey, this isn't the way to go, we should look at these options, and what do you think are the most effective tax savings mechanisms right now?
So it's funny that, kind of going back to what you said, the first thing I always say is don't spend money just to get a write-off, because
so many people do it.
You're losing more money. Like, it doesn't.
So many people do it.
The math doesn't add up.
Yeah.
Like, if you need a vehicle for the company,
that's different.
Go that way, and then yes, you end up having a benefit from that. But don't buy it just for the tax write-off, because
And then people sell it in 3 years and they get a recapture. And I'm like, dude, nobody talks about the recapture, I think, is a big part of it. What are the alternatives? Like, what are the smart ways that you're telling people in a normal scenario, like, here's how we can actually lower your cost basis for taxes and improve your business, or do things that are advantageous to actually generate you income?
Yeah. So one of the things that we've seen a lot, especially the last few years with the California, the PTE, the pass-through entity elective tax, which it's actually pretty simple, and we see it all the time through webinars and everything. But you'll be surprised how many CPA, I don't know if CPA firms, or how many clients or companies don't actually take advantage of it. It's as simple as you shift the payment of California tax from individuals to the entity, either partnerships or S corporations. Creates a federal deduction that wasn't otherwise there.
Right.
So you bypassing the limit at the personal level. That QBI was big a few years ago. The qualified business. So things like that, and then there's a few other kind of just taking advantage. A lot of times when people buy a building, or just doing a cost segregation study, R&D credits, those type of things.
The cost seg's a big one for real estate guys.
Yes.
Yeah, that one's a big one for sure.
The depreciation has been really beneficial, with 100% bonus for pretty much anything 20 years or less. A lot of things like that.
Awesome. And you can generate more revenue. Typically, you're building wealth. So like that one makes a lot of sense.
And again, don't go buy a building to get depreciation. If you're growing and you need a building, buy a building, and then you get depreciation.
Of course. That makes a lot of sense. Are you guys ever going, hey, maybe you should look at solo 401ks, like, or do you guys kind of stay out of that realm? I know you don't set them up, but how often are you guys telling people to go?
We do look at those scenarios, different pension plans, cash balance plans.
Cash balance for sure.
We work a lot with attorneys and wealth management and investment advisors to kind of. We're not attorneys, but we know enough to be dangerous.
Of course,
and we always get in meetings with attorneys and say, well, you have this. Why don't you think about this? So we're always looking at those different options to try to minimize tax and increase not only the revenue or also the wealth going forward for the future. And a lot of times it leads to do you have a current structure that's beneficial for a future? What are you going to do with the business? That's also a normal question that comes. That not
what
a
does
lot of people
exiting
think.
look like? Yeah.
Are you trying to sell? Are you going to give it to your kids? Are you going to pass it on to the employees? And a lot of that sometimes leads to, well, maybe then we need to set up some trust structure.
Trust is always a big one. Yep.
So then we bring a team to kind of deal with.
Yeah. And like, if I can also kind of maybe do a plug for you guys, right? One of the things that I see from a lot of CPAs, not all of them, but to no fail, I hear they're like, hey, I asked my CPA, I need a write-off. And like, we'll go buy a truck. And I think their job is to lower your tax bill, which it effectively does do in that year because it accomplishes it, right? I was going to pay 100, now I'm paying 75, and look at the shiny truck I got in the driveway. I think, I don't want to call it lazy, but I think going those other ways that I know you guys do, whether it's talking a cash balance plan, hey, let's go invest in some real estate that makes sense for you. Hey, let's think about a 401k or, these simple tax credits that you can get. They require more effort. I can tell because there's more emails set up. Hey, what works for you? What doesn't? What's the goal for the money?
Exactly.
Because if you just look at somebody who makes a lot of money and go, dude, just do a cash balance plan and tie up, I don't know, $100,000+ for 5 years each year. And they go, well, I need the money for this. Like, it's not a good fit for them.
Exactly.
You guys definitely do a good job of really laying out the cards and then going, okay, here's our value prop. You're going to pay for it, but we're going to do right by you. And I've really noticed that.
And that's where it comes to what we're saying at the beginning, the value and truly wanting to partner with the client. We don't want to just tell you, here, do this, and then if hopefully it works for you. We want to partner with you to say, okay, over the next 5 years, this is the things that we can do, or this is how we can help you, this is how we can bring somebody to help you. And from there, everybody wants to lower the tax liability, for sure.
It's a good thing.
But there's different ways to do it, so you're not losing sleep over it, or you're not stressed, or just things are done the right way for the right reason.
I equate it to sometimes like a doctor going, hey, I know you have tummy issues. Like, how about instead of eating and drinking all that beer and bread, you like stop, and they just go, here's a pill. Like, that's kind of sometimes what the truck write-off feels like. Here's a pill. Like, just go take it, And it's not like, hey, how about we eat better, So I really appreciate the way you guys go about it. I think it's the right way. And I think the industry would look a little different. And I think there'd be a lot more positive impact, too. Because it feels like the dealerships win more than the people sometimes. And it bothers me. Sure. It really does. What's some of maybe the one thing that people fail to realize? So one of the things that I see is that like W-2 employees have a hard time going like, what can I get that's a write-off that is impactful to me? I know about the Airbnb, kind of like short-term rental loopholes. Are there other things that they can be doing outside of a 401k if they were to come to you? They're doing really well. Like, what are you telling them? A high W-2 earner.
They have a really good problem, and it's a hard way to find a solution. I would say good job because you're doing really well.
Sure.
And then again, it comes down to circumstance and looking at the whole picture. It's not a good answer for what you're asking, but it's hard to tell you, okay, this is what you got to do, or it's just, we have to look at the big picture. And a lot of that happens with prospects.
Of course.
A few years, I think it was last year, I had a client call me, a prospect. I'm not sure how he got my number. It's actually a banker in the East Coast.
Oh, wow.
Really big W-2, but not a whole lot. Other than that, he was doing extremely well. And I told him, unfortunately, kind of going back to what we said earlier, I could do this for you, but it doesn't make sense because of the distance, and there's not a lot more for me to play with or to help you play with.
Yeah, because you can only max out a 401k for so much.
You can only do so much. Yeah, you can maybe do a donor advised fund so you contribute more and you bypass some of the limits on charity. Maybe you do every other year. There's a few things like that.
Yeah, but that's once you set it up, there's not a lot of maintenance to it.
But there's not just that, but it's just like, I don't know. It doesn't require a lot of work or planning, or it's just, I don't know where I can give you more value than just.
So funny.
I mean, and I will give you that free advice here. Why don't you do the donor advice fund and then find a CPA in your town and that can help you with the basics.
I think sometimes that's a good answer.
Yeah.
I know from what we see on Instagram and TikTok, like the Airbnbs is always the popular one because you get to do, at that point you're treated a different way on the income, how the real estate plays into it versus being a real estate professional and all that good stuff. But that also requires a level of risk, putting a bunch of money down. Like, it's not as simplistic as I think it sounds.
So I think the simple way to say it, the things that we see are, oh, wow, those new shiny toys that we can take advantage of.
Yeah.
Let's just put it this way. The IRS is also looking at those toys.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, let me see your new toy and what are you doing with that toy?
It's fair. No,
so
it's very true.
There's a lot of scrutiny on the things that come. Typically, sometimes it's simple, but like if it sounds too good to be true, sometimes it is too good to be true.
Yeah. I had somebody who was pitching at that M19 group I was telling you about how I'll get you to pay no taxes anywhere. I may have talked to you about it or not.
No,
but this
I've
guy's like, he
those.
led with it, and it was this trust here with this entity under it, with this, and there was like 6 layers. And you're like, okay, I can see how the paper trail is hard to follow, but
that's already,
it's like, dude, you're abusing the system. And obviously you guys know those terms really well. Like, it's abusive to the system. It's probably going to get wound back when it gets found out. So,
and part of it because of what we see, we know how painful an audit, even we go through audits because that's a lot of those are random. And even if they end up favorable or no change,
so stressful.
It takes a long time. Sometimes a lot of our fees, sometimes the attorneys get involved. And in my mind, it's not worth it.
It's a no-win situation. Yeah. Well, imagine doing it at $multi-million level and then having a clawback for that. Like that freaks me out every time I hear stuff like that.
You're dealing with more than just negligence. You can get in.
It's how long do I spend behind bars?
I like to sleep at night.
Yeah.
I like my sleep, and I don't want anything to jeopardize that.
So funny. Well, one of the last things I want to talk about, to just kind of like wrap it up, is that one of the unique things about, I think, your industry is that you do have these juggernauts that, like KPMG and like the other, the big four. They have this big foothold, and like you kind of got around it, and not only around it, like very successfully, and I think had a good life, family, and house, like all the stuff that is really hard to do in LA. If you were to say to somebody who is like, whether it's graduating college or they're in a place where like, I don't know if those kind of jobs and those places exist, like what would you tell them? How do you get to your place where you're a partner, and what are those things that look like to make a successful CPA?
Yeah, I think, first of all, you have to, and I believe not everybody has the ability to do this, but you have to enjoy what you're doing. If you don't enjoy it, you can still do it, but it's going to be a grind for a long time.
Yeah.
I found really early on that I enjoyed the lifestyle of a CPA. I'm not just talking about the work-life balance, but the fact that the work is, every day I have a plan of what I want to do. Most days I don't even get to touch that because clients email, I get a call, or different niches come up, and just that interaction with my schedule and everything, I love. I love how dynamic it is. I'm talking to people in different industries. So I talk to you about insurance, then I have a call, and I got to figure out something about real estate, and then manufacturing. So all that is really enjoyable to me. So having that perspective made it easier to go through the grind, because it is a grind at the beginning of the career. And part of it, I think, the intangibles is what's, first of all, it's hard to teach or have somebody say, hey, you should work on having more ownership, or you should be responsible. You should work hard and have a long-term perspective instead of short-term perspective. Those things are really, they're harder and harder to find, I think.
That's very true.
They're definitely out there. They're harder to find, and especially in industries where you do have to put the work in to eventually get the rewards and see it. But to me, on top of everything that I've been saying, it's like I get to have relationships with my clients where I've seen it, where clients call and ask questions about stuff that's not even related to what we do, but they just want to know our opinion. That is really cool.
That's a good thing.
That is a
really
cool
good
thing where just like we have partners. I've seen conversations with partners and clients where they're just talking about kids in school and should I do this? Should I do that? What about this? What about that? And it's just like, it's almost like talking to a friend.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to that level, you bypass that's actually a paying service. All that becomes just, it's all about value. I get value from talking to you, and I might not agree with you, and I know you might not know about my manufacturing entity, but either way, I want to know what you think. I want to know, should I move my distribution to Ohio? I don't know. I want to know what you think. Like stuff like that. It's just like, it becomes really cool. So
interesting.
If you, I don't know. I think having that long-term perspective of, I wanted to, when I got out of school and I realized soccer was definitely not an option, I wanted to have a job that was going to give me purpose. I don't want to just go to the office 9 to 5, go home, do that for 40, 50 years, and then all of a sudden I look back and I'm like, I went on vacation every year. That was great. All that, I have a nice house. All that seems nice, and I want it because I want to protect and provide for my family.
Of course. But
I want to have an impact. I want to do more than just work and get paid. I found that at Hedman. I found that in the profession. And now being a partner, I get to do that not only with clients and help them, I also get to make decisions and be part of the decision-making process for the employees, their families, and how we run a firm and how we help clients. All that to me is worth more than, honestly, paychecks. And I think, especially in this country, if you're a professional and you work hard, you will be okay. You will be okay. Even in LA, you go outside and you see the cost of everything. That sounds stressful. It is a lot.
Yeah.
but you will be okay if you do what you're supposed to do. If you're a professional, I'm not saying professionalism, you have a degree. If you act as a professional in whatever you're doing and you're responsible, you take ownership, you care for what you're doing more than just what I'm getting back, it's gonna pay itself off.
Yeah, I was, again, because I got married young, I feel like I had this purpose, and like the purpose changed, but like then there's kids and the purpose changed, and then now it's like, okay, I have this entity now on top of my family, on top of the church, and it's like I have all these things that give me a lot of purpose. And I feel like sometimes guys will go through a lot of stuff with no purpose. So I think that's a separate issue. But you said, hey, I love this job. I want to be passionate about it. You obviously have a lot of purpose in it. And like that's where I hear a lot is like I had purpose and I had a way to have a roadmap at a place like Hedman to give me the ability to live out a purpose in life that I think is really impactful. I do think there are other good companies to be at. I think up here in LA, like you guys are definitely up there for that like medium size that is doing incredible work. Those kind of companies exist out there. And I also think sometimes people just settle for the first job that pays them, which is a mistake. So I understand the necessity for a paycheck, but I also think that you could look a little bit and find a place, especially if you're motivated and you know the people that are there can see that you're going to make an impact. It's a real thing. So anyway, man, thank you so much for coming on. I think it's really fun to hear what you guys are doing and kind of now be more connected to it, that, you know, we're really in the same community. I'm going to link your information for the video. So if people want to reach out for careers, I would love them to talk to you. And I know you guys have other partners depending on what they want. If there's people who are just unhappy, Joel's information will be there. And I just think that you would be well served to have a conversation with them and see what does your life look like? Do you want it to look like it is now, or do you want something different? And if you want to work with as a business with them, they're very good. They are very, very good. And I can say just being with them for the past year, it's been a big difference to who we were before. So kudos to you guys again. You guys do an incredible job. Well, till the next time, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, reach out the link below for Joel's information, and I will see you guys on the next podcast. Take care.